Fish from idobi Radio here at Skate and Surf 2015. I'm very honored right now to be joined by the legendary Acceptance.
What's up?
What's up from the legends?
Awesome. So introduce yourselves for everyone out there right now if they don't know already.
My name's Christian. I attempt to play guitar and I sing off key a lot. So
I'm Jason.
Awesome. So you guys, first show back in 9 years, 2 days ago now, New York City. How was that, like, how did everything come together?
Let me ask you this question. Do you want me to look at you or the camera? Or you and then the camera? Or the
I don't know. Let's go with the last option.
Look at me, then look away. Then look at that. Sorry.
look at the baby.
Sorry, I'm just breaking the ice for us here real quick. I'm going to look at you for a minute.
Okay.
How did this come together?
So this whole thing kind of came together towards the end of last year. We randomly, I was playing in a band called Amberlin. My manager and booking agent for that band hit me up one day and were like, "Yo, we got an offer for Acceptance to play Skate and Surf." They're like, "We don't really know what to do with that," and so so anyway, that kind of gave me something tangible to kind of bring to, like, Acceptance hadn't really talked a lot in the past 9 years. Like, we just kind of,
Yeah, that's true.
we just kind of, fell out of touch. Like, whatever, life goes on and people are doing their own thing. And so anyway, having that offer actually gave something tangible, more than just like, "Hey, you guys want to get back together and try and book some shows or something?" You know what I'm saying? It's like, so that kind of started the dialogue of like, okay, is this something we want to do this year? It's kind of, it's a 10-year anniversary of Phantoms. It had been basically 10 years since we'd, played a show and been a band. So that Skate and Surf offer kind of got the dialogue going and kind of got the wheels turning. And now you find us here, and things have kind of snowballed in a direction I don't think any of us really ever pictured. If you would have asked me, even when we got that offer, if that was going to be something that was plausible, I would have said, I'm very doubtful, so.
John, I got a Facebook message 2 years ago from John, from the guy who books the Skate and Surf for John. He said, "Does Acceptance want to get back together for Skate and Surf?" And I said, "I'm just going to tell you right now, I have no idea where anybody in the band is at this moment, so I think it's pretty hard." This year, he tried it again. I'm like, I felt really bad saying no twice. That was the main thing. I said, let's do it this way. Why don't you get in touch with Christian and just see, because I knew that Christian had a line of communication with everybody in the band, because he had probably seen him or talked to him throughout the last 10 years. For me personally, I hadn't talked to almost anybody in the band, for 10 years. So that really started it. What happened next, Christian either emailed everybody or called, or something happened that got everybody on the phone together, because we're not in the same city anymore. So we got on the phone and everybody was like, "Yeah, let's do this." And it really, when he says snowball is a good word, but it really organically all of a sudden became this thing where we all started falling in love with each other and having just great conversations and getting excited and being like, what would that look like? What does it mean? Do people even want to see it? And all that kind of turned into this really cool vibe, and that's kind of what got us to this point here. We weren't even going to play in New York 2 nights ago. We were just going to come play Skate and Surf, and we're like, "Oh, okay, we'll play in New York too."
So while you're on stage the other night, one incredible performance. I haven't been that excited at a show in a long time, I'll be really honest. Also, you said you've never headlined New York City before. How does it feel? First show 9 years, you play New York City and you sell it out.
Well, he's been doing that for the last...
That's old news to me.
Chris is like, "Why aren't we playing at the Garden?"
What is this peasant crap?
Yeah.
No. When we say we hadn't headlined, we probably had headlined at like the Continental or something, which was like 200 cap, In the city, we didn't really play that much. I think the last time we played in the area was like the friggin' Drunken Donkey or whatever it was called.
Oh, the Crazy Donkey. Great venue on Long Island.
With Paramore and so yeah, it had been a long time. We definitely never played a venue that size in the city. It was pretty surreal, I think, once we put tickets on sale, and the show sold out in like a week. So I think
thing that's interesting about the band was we were a band for a long time before Phantoms. You know, we were in, I think, probably 1999 or 2000 or somewhere in that area. So we were in 7 years a band before, up to the point Phantoms came out. And the first time we even did a headlining tour, which was just because we had nothing else to do, was with Cartel, Receiving End of Sirens, Paramore, Panic at the Disco. You know, who knew? I mean, that was a great, and that was all just bands that we enjoyed listening to at the time. But, you know, we'd always either opened for bands or done some West Coast things. So for us to come back and headline a concert and have it sell out in a week in New York with just using our Twitter and Facebook that we just got back from somebody that was running it. Thank you very much for running that for us, by the way. It was like the official acceptance Facebook page. It was not what we expected. When we were on the first conversation, the first thing we all said to each other is, why would we even do this? Do people even want to see acceptance or hear them again? So I think that's what was so cool. I mean, even, I'm not speaking for you, but, you know, Christian has, he's done a lot of touring since, right? None of us have been in bands afterwards other than Christian. But even he was like, that was what's cool to me, was Christian was like, whoa, what's going on right now? Yeah. And that got me even more excited because I was like, that's pretty cool. It was just real organic. It was like a real thing, you know?
Definitely. Were you guys talking about getting back together when your vinyl went on sale and immediately pretty much sold out for the most part, from what I remember?
Not at all.
That was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if I knew that was happening. Maybe I'd heard it through like the grapevine or something.
No, that wasn't. Yeah, the band was not. That was truly bad timing. Love's acceptance, and got the rights from Columbia to release that. We didn't I didn't even know until it was happening, and somebody told me, "Hey, do you guys know your vinyl's coming out?" I mean, I probably actually don't think I knew. And then it was, not only was it coming out, and it's like, oh, it sold out already. I think my dad told me. He's like, hey, I tried to get your album, and I couldn't get it. And I'm like, what do you mean you couldn't get it? It just came out today, or something like that. I'm like, well, I don't understand. That was weird.
Was that like a oh shit moment, we might do this again, or did that have any influence on it?
I mean, I don't think so. They did. I mean, it was impressive that they all sold. Honestly, it was really cool, and it was very, super flattering. But they didn't press that many. I think it was another like hinting factor of something to talk about once we got, back in communication. If I can back up a little bit, it's like all the years I was touring with Amberlynn, I slowly started to notice like more and more people wanted to talk to me about acceptance. And, a lot of these dudes weren't touring, they weren't in positions where people were wanting to talk, about your old band or whatever. So every once in a while I would talk to some of the dudes in acceptance and be like, yo, like, I think our band's gotten like a lot bigger since we broke up. Like, it's really crazy. It's like anywhere I go in the world, I'll be in Thailand, and someone will be like, oh, you're in acceptance, right? Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, we never even toured outside of the States. We really only toured on a national level for like 3 years. So,
yeah, Christian's like, that sucks, dude. I got to tour every single day of my life, and this acceptance band.
Oh man. Well, it actually became like a joke in Amberlynn because the rest of the band dudes would have kind of like jokingly be annoyed, like, oh okay, like we'd be at a signing and people would be like, you were in acceptance, right? Oh my god, and like, you'd be like, oh, okay, here we go, like talking about the old girlfriend, like whatever. So, I started noticing just small things over the years, and more it happened, whether it be bands that Amberlynn was touring with or like fans that were coming to shows. The Bad Timing record, it was like all these kind of these little pieces were pointing towards like, hey, if we got back together, I think it could be really good, but it was hard to really speculate. I remember talking to Kyle, who is our manager, who's managing us now, before any of this was actually in place, before tickets were on sale, before anything like that. It was really hard to know what to expect because when we were a band, we weren't big. When you look back at all our, Polestar touring numbers and or like, record numbers and like the rooms we were selling was like, we weren't really a big band by any stretch of the word when we were an actual band.
Other than Japan, we were big in Japan.
We never went to Japan. But if we did, we would have probably been massive. Big in Japan. Really big in Japan. So, yeah, it's been just kind of, I guess, flooring for a lot of us to just kind of see these reactions of shows selling out immediately. We're playing to numbers that 3 times the amount of people, 4 times the amount of people that we would do when we were an actual band. So it's been pretty crazy.
Definitely. I think it was a really unique factor because I saw you guys back in '05, I think it was, when you guys opened for Good Charlotte at Radio City Music Hall. And I just remember seeing you guys and being like, wow, this band is awesome. And my mom happened to be walking in the bathroom while I think you were doing a signing. So I still have a signed copy of Phantoms from that. And then a couple years later, people were like, hey, have you ever heard of this band Acceptance? I'm like, yeah, saw them, got an autographed CD from them. And just over the years, people more and more, I'll be doing my radio show, people are requesting Acceptance I've been doing it for about a year and a half, 2 years now. People constantly requesting you guys to be played. It's very unique that you guys were gone for so long, and just progressively, people seem to get more and more interested.
Yeah, I mean, we feel the same way. Like, it's just been kind of mind-blowing, honestly. Like,
without making it a bigger deal than it is, because who knows what you still can't really quantify what that all is. What is absolutely true is, of the people that I've met in the last 2 months that talked to me about Acceptance, I've maybe talked to one person you're the second person that's ever seen us before.
Oh, really?
So it's like, from that standpoint, it's really blows my mind. But it's really cool. I mean, and everybody that we interact with is so positive about it. And so, there's just such a great vibe about the band and Phantoms, which is when we made Phantoms, it was what we wanted. It was exactly what we, like talking to you or talking to somebody after a show, that, if I could just take that vibe, it's exactly how we felt when we were making a record, and what we wanted how we wanted our fans to feel when they, found out about it and stuff. So that's been cool. And I think we might, there's a unique opportunity to bring some of that back into the music landscape, if you will, that really just love for music and people and inspiration and just kind of some of the core things that get us all loving music, Well, not everybody. Some people, maybe not, but yeah. So it's pretty cool. It's been amazing.
So you said before how no one's done any musical projects besides Amberlynn. You came out of nowhere being featured on the All Time Low record, and I just remember being so stoked to hear your voice again. Were you working on any other stuff at the time in between that and or previous to that and Acceptance now?
Yeah, I was working on lunch that day, actually. I was at Potbelly Sandwich, and I got a text message from Ryan Dawson, who drums for All Time Low. And he said, hey, something like, hey, what are you up to? I'm like, just hanging out.
Potbelly, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just hanging out. Because would you be interested in singing on our next record? Which was really, kind of blew me away a little bit. But also, I didn't have a whole lot of reference. I mean, I was kind of I didn't really know. I met the All Time Low guys prior, and I really liked them, and I really liked their band. So those are the two things that I needed to know that would be cool to me. So it just kind of, we talked a couple times, and it just kind of came together, and I went and recorded it in Seattle. But there was no plan. There was no plan. Yeah, you like that? It wasn't like, hey, let's do this for a reason. It was just like, I like those guys. I like their music. That sounds like it would be fun. And I remember calling them after I did it, and I'm like, hey, or while I was singing, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sing it like this. I mean, are you guys into this? Like, I even remember there was one part that I was going to sing on that I didn't, because I was like, dude, Alex sounds way better than me at this part. I'm like, I'm not singing. I told him, like, hey, guys, I'm not singing this part. I can't do it as good as him. He sounds great. So it was funny. I mean, and it was really awesome. It was a good experience, but yeah. Back to you.
Thank you. So, Take You Away, your new single, came out, and really, it was awesome. There's no other way of putting it. And the live response, hearing it live twice out of the last 3 days, has just been a very surreal experience to see you guys playing new live music. What can we expect in the future from you guys?
What do you want to do?
I think it's safe to expect more music from Acceptance, for sure. I mean, that's something we we've all talked about. We are actually very excited about doing. We have a Dropbox extremely packed full of demos right now. It's incredible. We were really excited to release a new song because in my opinion, it just kind of came out of nowhere, and I think we all really liked that fact that it was just like
That's Christian's current Dropbox. He has 1, 2, 3.
it's like 15 or 16.
He's got a lot of songs in there. Not all of them are very good, but some of them are very good.
Right. So collectively as a band, we have a lot of demos right now that we've. Like I said, I mean, it snowballed very quickly. It was like conversations started. It was like, okay, well, maybe anybody interested in doing new music? It was like, yeah. And then the drummer was like, okay, cool, I'm going to do a Dropbox, and I'm going to make folders for everybody. And the next thing you knew, it was like just tons of songs in the folders. He's found his like old voice memo recorder from like acceptance days where he would just like make vocal notes in his car. And he's got, I've got like 300 voice memos in here. I'm going to listen to, and he's like posting them. I'm listening to like him trying to sing in his car. Like, Christian, what do you think of this? I was like, man, I have no idea what's going on. But so that being said, we have a lot of material. We have there's a lot of excitement within the camp, and everyone's pretty stoked. I mean, we have 2 shows under our belt right now that went over very well. For a band that hasn't played in 10 years. We just released a song for the first time in almost 10 years. And I thought it was good. It was like when we were talking, when we were working on this song, it was kind of being Frankenstein from across the country, just like internet, like, okay, I did this little thing in Pro Tools and I'd send it to the drummer and he recorded drums, and then he went out to Wisconsin and recorded vocals, and we were working with a producer in Nashville, and he's like, importing my Pro Tools stuff. He's working with Nick's stuff. So all of that being said, for the first time getting back together and writing together for the first time in almost a decade, the fact that we could write that song, which I think is a great song. It's a really good song. I've been writing songs for a long time now. I've done a lot of records with Anne Berlin, but when we finished that song, I was like, holy crap, this is. Yeah, I was like, this is really stinking good for like the first time we're getting back together. Like I don't even think I'd seen this dude at that point. Like we talked on the phone. I hadn't really been in Seattle. The one time I did go to Seattle, he went to Wisconsin to record vocals. So it was like, we hadn't even hung out yet. We're about to release a new song, The
way was done before I even seen Christian for the first time in 10 years. And I guess, and he's kind of like, hey, whoa, slow down. What are we doing here? And I'm in Wisconsin. Like, hey, we're just going to record some stuff. Let's just make it happen. And I think, this isn't a thing. So I kind of alluded to it today when we played, which is like there are some reunions happening, and reunions happen all the time, and they're great. And they're great for the fans because they get to experience something they might not have ever experienced. For us, when we don't really look at it as a reunion. We really do look at it as a restart or a refresh or whatever you might want to call it, a rebirth, because it's really just a real thing where we're loving making music and loving being around each other, and we're enjoying playing songs and playing live, and we're having conversations about like what's the next concert going to look like. We feel like music geeks right now. We get off the stage today, and first thing Chris and I are like, how was it? Was it good? How did we do? He's like, I don't know. What am I going to do? It's not like, hey, let's go do a reunion because there's a bunch of people that want to pay money to see us. That's just not our thing. We don't have to do that. None of us have to do that. We want to go play music because we just all of a sudden fell in love with music and our music, the music we make. So that's cool. It's really awesome. A lot of fun. Yeah.
It's pretty open-ended at this point. Like he's saying, it's not like a one-time, this year we're going to play some shows and, because I'm broke, or hey guys, you want to get together and make some money. It's like we're getting back together because we felt like maybe we missed out on something 10 years ago, and
our situation is not the best situation that has ever happened to a band by any means, and it was disheartening, and we're young guys, and we took it hard, as anybody probably would, and now we don't. It's completely different. So it's good.
Now we're here, 10 years later, in for the long haul, like shows and songs and possibly a record, and we're going to make a movie. I'm writing a book about it right now. I'm going to go through my memoirs, and yeah.
Awesome. So something I learned about you guys a couple of nights ago was you mentioned, I don't want to misquote you, something about you wanted to record with a specific producer and you took less money because the label wasn't exactly behind that, correct? Something along those
I
lines.
don't want to speak for the label, but I will say they just said, no, you can't use Aaron Sprinkle. So anyhow, I guess I'm just quoting them at this point. So yeah, originally, Aaron, going back to what we were talking about earlier, the band being a band for quite some time, we made Black Lines of Battlefields, which is the song, the EP that we put out on Militia Group. We had recorded that on our own. And we had used that to get a record. We were trying to get a record deal. We ended up getting signed to Columbia Records. And we released Black Lines of Battlefields in the meantime of starting to work on a full-length record, which ended up being Phantoms. Aaron Sprinkle had produced that record, and we had created a really great relationship with him, and it really felt like a member of he felt like a part of the band. We wanted to use him again, and that, our label wasn't interested in that. He never put a major label record out. So we actually demoed with a producer that had worked with Sunny Day Real Estate and the Ataris and stuff, and he was a great guy, and it was a great experience. He ended up going and started working on, I think, that Taking Back Sunday record, and we really just had a great relationship with Aaron. Nothing against anybody other than it's like making a record making a record with your best friend who is also awesome at making records. So we told Columbia, we'll do a record. It wasn't even half. It was literally actually more like a quarter of the budget. And we're like, how about we do this? If we make the record for way less and you don't like it, you can put it out on a indie. You can do whatever you want. We don't really care, but we think he's the right guy. So then they let us do it. And it turned out good.
Yeah, it was okay.
I'd agree. I think it did definitely turn out good. How do you think approaching something like that in present day music industry would go over at this point?
I have no idea. I think it would be easier to do. I think you have more resources to make. First of all, if you're a band today, just based on our experience and knowing our schedules and knowing how Take You Away even came to fruition, if I was a band, I am in a band. Okay, here's how I am approaching it is, we should be able to make music on our own and get the music to a level where people can hear it and respond to it and like it, and it gives you a lot of flexibility at that point. So we may Take You Away. We did that all on our own. I mean, we didn't call a label and say, hey, Acceptance is getting back together. Who wants to start bidding? It wasn't like, it's just, let's just go make a song. And we'll make the record on our own and go from there. And I think you can do that with social media. You can do that with the technology that's available to you right now. We can mess around with stuff and get songs way further down the road than we ever could in the past. And major labels aren't the end-all be-all. I don't even know what a major realistically, isn't Hopeless Records a major label at this point, or Fueled by Ramen, or they're just as great a label as any other label out there. So I think we're going to focus on finding people that really connect with the band and working with those people. Where they're at, who they are, what company they work for, I could care less. If we walk away going, they really truly love our band, and they're gonna continually work for our band till forever. Because to me, that's the commitment. To me, it's like the one thing I don't get about the music bit. It's like, when do you stop loving somebody? Never. You just keep loving and keep loving. It's like, hey, why would you ever give up? 6 months you give up on a record. Why would you do that? So we're gonna find those people, and that's who we're gonna work with.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Very much so. How can everyone keep up with you online now? What's the Facebook, the Twitters, Instagram?
Yep, we're on all those things. It's acceptanceband.com. It's Instagram, Acceptance Band. Twitter is Acceptance Band, I think.
What's our Twitter, Ryan?
Acceptance Band, right? Facebook is also, surprisingly, Acceptance Band. And then hotguys.com, bestkissers.com.
What else?
Tinder, definitely Tinder.
Looksovertalent.com.
Looks over talent.
We got a couple Tinders. There's one Grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do. It's true. Yeah, no, that's all the spots that you can find us. Man Berlin, that's his handle. Everything that I'm a part of is actually my name. So I'm the only one in the band that actually has my name as everything. So I'm Jason Vena. So that's good.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sitting down, talking to me. Really awesome conversation. Really stoked I got to have it with you guys, and I'm looking forward to see you guys in the near future.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
Thank you as well.